So you have memorized hundreds, maybe thousands of words. You have drilled grammar rules till your head spins. You have put in the real work. Someday you finally get the chance to actually speak your target language. Someone is asking you a simple question, but when you try to speak, you just awkwardly stay in silence trying to conjugate a sentence in your head. That's pretty annoying, huh? You have this awkward pause where you are trying to find the next word because basically you're trying to translate everything word for word. You know the verbs, you've studied the grammar, but getting it all to flow into a natural sentence just feels impossible. It's frustrating and it can make you feel like you are not making real progress. Well, what if I told you that native speakers don't actually think word by word? It's true. Their brains are wired to recognize patterns. They think in phrases, in groups of words that just naturally go together. In this video, I want to show you the chunking method, which is all about training your brain to do the same thing. This way, you can finally stop translating in your head and start speaking more smoothly and with a lot of more confidence. It's a fantastic technique and it's something you can start using today. The traditional method has a lot of problems. When you try to speak word by word, your brain works too hard. You think about every word, the grammar, and the sentence structure. That takes time. You pause, you get nervous, and you lose confidence. At school, we are often taught to learn languages like individual bricks. A noun here, a verb there. We think that when we need to speak, we can just build a perfect sentence with these bricks. But it's too much work for your brain. You have to remember the word, check the meaning, think of the right grammar rule, conjugate the verb, get the word order right. It's this multi-step calculation that has to happen in seconds. It's no wonder that conversation can feel so slow and exhausting. You might say something that has meaning, but it doesn't sound natural. For example, which one of the following sentences sounds right to you? To say, that girl has blonde hair, or that girl has a blonde car. Obviously the first one, right? But for a lot of people that are just learning a new language, these kind of mistakes are the most common. Wrong collocation of words are the consequence of a word-by-word learning approach. You are speaking, but you are not communicating like a local will do. Also, native speakers almost never communicate one single word at a time. We don't say just car, we say I need a car. We don't say just apple. We say, I'm eating an apple. So, what is the secret? Fluent speakers think in chunks, not single words. Now, chunking in a nutshell just means that you are learning phrases and not just individual words. In psychology, it's the process where our brain groups small bits of information into one bigger, meaningful piece. Our short-term memory is pretty limited, but when we group things together, we can remember and use them way more easily. Think of chunks like Lego blocks. A learner who learns word by word has a big pile of single Lego pieces. To build a house, they must connect every small piece one by one. It is slow and hard. But a fluent speaker has pre-made parts. A whole wall, a window, a roof. They can build a house in just a few seconds because they are using bigger pre-built sections. Those pre-built sections are language chunks. A chunk is a group of words that people often use together. Instead of thinking, how are you, your brain just remembered the whole chunk. How are you? This small change is the key of speaking fluently. Your brain sees this as one single item, not three. And research has shown that fluent native speakers have a massive mental library of these chunks. They are not inventing every sentence out of the blue. They are pulling and combining chunks they have heard and used thousands of times. There is a linguist, Michael Lewis, who talked about this in his lexical approach. He argued that language isn't grammar that you just plug words into. It's the other way around. It's the collection of words or lexis that already have the grammar sort of baked inside them. And research shows that a huge amount of everyday speech, something like 50 to 80%, is made up of these prefabricated phrases. When you focus on chunks, you get three amazing benefits. First, and this is the big one, you achieve natural fluency. Since chunks are pre-built, you stop having to construct sentences from scratch. You can pull them from memory instantly, which gets rid of all that hesitation and makes your speech flow. This gives you quick wins. You start having real successful conversations, which just makes you want to learn even more. The second benefit is better rhythm. When you learn a single word, you learn one sound. But when you learn a chunk, you learn the music of the language. For example, a learner might say, "What are you doing?" But a native speaker says it faster and it sounds more like, "What you doing?" You learn this natural rhythm by learning the whole phrase. The third benefit is that you learn grammar naturally. Instead of memorizing a grammar rule, you learn it by seeing in many different chunks. Your brain starts to see the pattern. You learn the pattern naturally through exposure, just like you did with your first language. The chunks becomes the examples your brain uses to figure out the grammar all by itself. For example, Spanish is my native language, and I learned to speak it perfectly without taking grammar lessons. I know how to use every case, not because I study it, but because I hear the sentences many times and figure out the order. Grammar becomes something you feel, not just something you study. Okay, so this all sounds great, but how do you actually do it? How do you make this part of your learning schedule? Well, let me just show you what I do. First, you need to find your chunk from a video or an audio source. The crucial point is to make sure it's spoken by a native speaker. You also need to know what that phrase actually means. You can use films, TV shows, or podcasts. Make sure it's stuff that appeals to you. What I used to do before was this. Whenever I was watching a movie or listening to a podcast and I hear a good sentence I didn't know, I paused and recorded that part. Then I downloaded that file and saved it on my phone so I could listen to it. That was a very complicated process. Thankfully, now I use a tool called Glossica. It's a platform that has from 3,000 to more than 6,000 phrases per language. They also support over 60 languages, so you will probably find what you're looking for. I will leave a link to this tool in the description and also in the pinned comment below. Okay, so what I do first is just go to my favorite phrases. I will find a sentence or an expression that is technically new to me or that I just need to work on. I will choose this one right here, which means I'm allergic to shrimp. Then I just press the play button and listen to the native speaker.
У меня аллергия на креветки.
And again.
У меня аллергия на креветки.
And again.
У меня аллергия на креветки.
After I listen to it a lot, then I start to practice that phrase. You just listen and then repeat it.
У меня аллергия на креветки.
У меня аллергия на креветки. And again.
У меня аллергия на креветки.
У меня аллергия на креветки.
У меня аллергия на креветки.
У меня аллергия на креветки. You get the idea. I will just keep on saying that. You know, I will walk around the house. When I'm traveling to work, I'll be saying it to myself.
The goal is for this phrase to become so automatic that your brain just gives you the complete phrase ready to go.
Once you have done this for a while, you can start to change the phrase around a little bit. You can say something like, "У меня аллергия на яблоки." I'm allergic to apples. Or, "У меня аллергия на собак и кошек." I'm allergic to dogs and cats. Or, "У меня нет аллергии на собак и кошек." I'm not allergic to dogs and cats. Or, "У тебя нет аллергии на собак и кошек." You're not allergic to dogs and cats. You see what's happening? You have one solid foundation, and now you're learning to build on it. You are moving from just repeating like a parrot to actually creating. You're absorbing the patterns naturally, just like a little kid does.
This is essentially how I learn Spanish, my native language.
This is how I'm learning Russian and how now I can speak in English.
So remember, fluency isn't about knowing every single word.
It's about knowing how to use the most common words in the most common combinations. It's about thinking and speaking in chunks, just like native speakers do. When you focus on phrases, you reduce the mental effort, you sound more natural, and you build your confidence so much faster. If this video helped you out, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss the next one. And now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever tried the chunking method before? Leave a comment below about your experience with the language you're learning. Check this other video, and remember, all the links are in the description. That's all. Never stop learning.